Hello and welcome to Monday, the last Monday of February of 2024. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're having a great start to your week on this Monday morning. How are you? How you feeling? I hope well. So you are joining me for episode number 14. And I was thinking, as I normally do over the weekend, what I would talk about. And I think this has been on my mind for a couple of weeks now, but it's something that I'm always talking about with other people. And it's like, what do you have to offer someone in a relationship? Oftentimes I talk to, friends or associates or co-workers, whatever. And, we're quick to express what we want, what we are looking for in a person and or relationship. But have you ever taken the time to pause and think, what am I offering? So let's get into it. Hello again. My name is Mitch Wright, and I welcome you to episode 14 of Love is Your Medicine podcast. I've been having a blast, an absolute pleasure, having a discussion with you, my listeners. I'm still thrilled that, each week it seems like I'm getting more and more listeners, and also individuals that download episodes of my podcast from around the world. And it's very humbling. I'm happy. I started off, my wife Michelle kind of urged me to, maybe it would be good to open up and talk about some of the situations I've gone through that I grew up in, because she said, she felt strongly that it could help someone. And, I started doing it, and it not only helps me, but it's nice to hear feedback from individuals on the different topics that I've discussed. So I'm happy. And like I mentioned at the end of episode 13, I have people listening and downloading different episodes of my podcast, not only in the United States, which is grown a great deal in the United States, but I have listeners in Canada, 2 countries in Africa, the UK, Belgium. I have quite a few listeners in Belgium, Germany, and to my surprise, I noticed even India. So I have someone listening in India as well. So I thank all of you. I appreciate you, and I hope that you find value in each episode. So getting to this episode, what do you have to offer? Like I said in the intro, I have friends or people I associate with, or I've had coworkers in the past. They very openly will discuss with me or anyone else what they're looking for in a person. Some may even, kind of they kind of get upset or discouraged because they aren't finding that person that they're looking for. And I do a lot of listening. I'll, interject when I want to ask a question or get a point across or my perspective, my point of view. But for the most part, I listen a lot because that's how you learn the most about a person. Ask good questions and listen to what they say without interrupting. And, gradually you'll find out the type of individual that they are. So, I listen and I hear a lot of what they look for in a person. Some people, and I'm not going to beat around the bush here, they have this high list of expectations, whatever they may be. Some people, they may have expectations of that may be financial. They may have expectations of what they want a person to look like. You may have expectations of what you want a person, how you want them to act, how you expect your significant other to act, what they should be like. And okay, a part of self-respect and self-worth is like, yeah, you want to look for things that will complement you, because as a couple, you're working together in life side by side. So of course, we all want someone compatible to us. Nothing wrong with that. I think something that makes me, it kind of gets my attention is when the more I get to know a person and I hear all these expectations of someone else, and I think, man, have you stopped and looked at your circumstances? Have you hit the pause button and kind of thought about, what you have to offer? And it's, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, do people really just stop and take the time to really self-reflect honestly and look at themselves as someone from the outside would see them? Do you do that? Sometimes do you hit the pause button and kind of do an honest evaluation of yourself or self-reflect and, just go down a mental checklist about your own life, your own circumstances, because just like we have certain expectations of our potential mate or who we would like to be with, you really have to think about, what am I offering the person in return? Because a relationship is a partnership. Both sides should be giving of themselves equally. That's what I've always thought and the way I've always felt. We can't go into a relationship one-sided. And this, it applies to so many aspects of a relationship. You have to be thinking togetherness and full participation from both sides. So if you find something that, you need to work on, do you work on it? Do you, try to better yourself to be a better person? Because, let's face it, none of us are going to be perfect. So I'm not talking about perfection or, you're going to find the just like 100% ideal person. That's never going to happen because, you're getting two different people from two different backgrounds, two different viewpoints of life, and you're meshing them together. So it's not going to be perfect. We're imperfect people. This is an imperfect world. Each day is different in a relationship. So, we're not talking about being closed-minded like that, but, for instance, I know, I've known individuals, that are very, and I'm just, that, let's call it what it is. They're kind of demanding with their expectations. But then, I would look at different things about them, and it might not be some of their circumstances or quote unquote baggage. It doesn't look appealing if you're looking from the outside. And they either didn't realize it, or they either didn't care. And to me, that was, unfortunate, sad that someone can go through life like that and they expect all these other things from other people the way they want them to be. But then they aren't complete themselves. It's a lot of things that may not be right about them. And, like I said, we're being honest today. So just think about that, what I said. They may not be complete themselves, talking about emotionally or mentally, or different circumstances in their lives. But yet and still they expect so many things from other people or a potential partner or mate. And remember, different things may not be appealing to different people. That's just a fact of life, so can we all agree on that? That things about you, whether physical or the way you talked or act, or things in your life, it may not be appealing to other people. And I think everyone has to realize that. You would do yourself a great deal of good just starting out with that thought process. That you may be a great person. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with you. You may be a great person. You may be living life the way you want to live it. You're happy. You are successful. But you may not be appealing in one way or another to everyone. And I think when we realize that, when we're humble enough to realize that, and we're modest and true to ourselves, I think that will, that cuts out a lot of negative thoughts that you may have, because I know people, they're just it really bothers them that they can't find someone. Or I see a lot of women on social media, saying that there aren't any good men out there, or the dating pool is like a cesspool, nothing. There's no good men out there. And, men will say the same thing. I'm not this, I don't play the bashing one sex against the other. Like, I don't do that here. So men will do it too. I've heard men say it. There aren't any good women, or all the good women are taken. So both sides will play that game about, either there aren't any good men out there aren't any good women left. It's, come on. We all know there are single men, there are single women everywhere around us. Okay. So sometimes you have to stop and think and look inward to really honestly look at yourself and think, am I appealing to someone else? So, okay, we got that out of the way first, that we may not be appealing to everyone. Now, that appealing is going to look different on, it varies from person to person. I've known some people that they want to find someone on the same level they are financially. They feel like they feel that they want the person to bring something to the table as well. They don't want to be the sole provider, or they don't want to support someone more than the other person might be, putting into the relationship financially. And, to each their own. I've never personally been about that, about financial. Like, I look at other things in a relationship. But like I said, we're all different. I don't bash anyone. I will never bash anyone or, throw how I feel on someone, because I recognize and I understand that we are all different. And yeah, I know that for a fact. Some people, they want someone that's financially compatible with them for whatever reason. And I've known people that they believe in each couple each person in the couple will pay equally for different bills, whether that's mortgage, rent, the cars, whatever. Each person puts in equally. I've known other couples where, say for instance, a husband will say he'll put in for mortgage or rent, and the cars, she can cover everything else, like utilities and things like that. I've known couples where, the husband, he paid everything, basically the mortgage, the car notes, and he told his wife, you have a job, just use the money for whatever you want to use it for. So it is like various situations financially in a relationship. But, like I was saying, some people look at that financially. They look for things like that in a partner. And not saying that that's the only thing they're looking for, but in reality, it's a big focus when it comes to a relationship with them. And, something else, I've known people where they look for different personalities. They want someone compatible with their personality. And I'm sure we all know couples where, they are so much alike. We know the ones, they can finish each other's sentence, when they're talking in a conversation. Same sense of humor, the same goals in life. they like the same things for recreation. Maybe they like the outdoors, and, they do a lot of things outdoors, hiking, swimming, skiing, you know, maybe they're both outgoing, or maybe, a couple that both of them are kind of reserved, maybe shy, so some people, most people look for someone that's going to be similar to them in personality. And then we have those that physical characteristics are a big thing for them. And this is, most of the time, this is a very hot button when it comes to a relationship or people looking for a prospective partner or a mate. They want someone to be what they feel is an ideal for who they want to be with. Again, nothing is wrong with this. Personally, I feel a lot of people put too much emphasis on this. I'm more concerned with getting to know a person for who they are, their qualities, their values, their morals. And of course, we want someone, attractive, someone that we're attracted to. That's part of it. That's part of being in a relationship. You want someone to satisfy you. You want someone that pleases you, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So, I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. If you're looking at physical qualities or characteristics, nothing is wrong with it, but do you put a lot of emphasis on that? Do you have this idea or this picture painted in your mind of just an ideal person? Because I tell you what, if you pigeonhole yourself like that, you may be passing up some great individuals that might not, be in that physical grouping that you have in your head or in your mind. Now think about what I said earlier. You may not be appealing to everyone. And that especially applies to the physical aspect of a relationship. We aren't going to appeal to everyone. Like, I knew that. When it comes to physical, I knew that even growing up and in my early 20s. I just knew, because like I said in my earlier episodes, I was growing up, I was the chubby kid. I'm like 5'8". My wife says I'm like 5'7". I'm going with 5'8". But in my head, I jokingly tell people, I may be 5'8", but I identify as a 6'7" person. I don't let anything stop me from being who I am on the inside. So height never mattered. Growing up, I had my issues with the weight thing and my self-worth and, how I carried myself. And I'm talking in my younger years, junior high school and high school, it was an issue. In my 20s, it was an issue with the weight. And it wasn't until, like I said on one of my previous episodes, it wasn't until I was in my early 30s that I kind of threw that notion out completely about the weight. I didn't let that hold me back anymore. My weight does not dictate who I am or what I offer as a man. And so, I say all that to say I knew that I might not be physically appealing to everyone. I know a lot of women who, to them, height doesn't matter. They're looking at other qualities in a man. But then I know women who they are not interested in anyone, and they'll give you a specific number too. I'm not interested in anyone under 6 feet tall. I know other women, one woman was like, I don't want to talk to anyone if they aren't 6 feet 4 inches, then they need to keep on walking. And she was quite serious about that. Like I said, to each their own. I know some people, they want someone to be a certain weight, a certain size. Again, to each their own, but that's just personally not who I am. I've never let someone's weight define who they are to me. Like I said, I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know their personality. I want to get to know their mind. I wasn't going to let weight determine who I want. And a big reason for me is because I didn't want people doing that to me. So if I didn't want to be treated like that, I made sure I didn't treat others like that when it came to weight or size. But yeah, just being totally honest, that is a big issue for most people. It's size and weight. And just like the height, men or women, I've known both to, say they didn't want to date or they're not looking for someone over a certain weight. And again, my thought process goes back to, if you're thinking like that and you're so narrow-minded, you may be missing out on some great individuals that you could get to know if your thought process was a little bit deeper. But like I keep saying, to each their own, But if you're so particular with what you're looking for, then don't complain that you can't find someone. If you have these preset checklists, you can't be upset saying you can't find someone, because quite frankly, you have like a high maintenance checklist. And again, like I said, we each have things that we're attracted to, that we like, that we want, that we're looking for. So yeah, stay true to yourself. All I'm saying is, just self-reflect and think, am I being too particular? Am I being too close-minded? My philosophy has always been, just get to know everyone. Nothing wrong with having a friend. You may find you have a lot in common with a person. But if you're going into it closed-minded and negatively, if you put in negative energy, that's what you're going to get. That's what you'll receive, is negative energy. So yeah, the other side of the coin is, if you're so particular, or if you're looking for certain aspects of another person, are you exhibiting what you're looking for? In other words, is your life in order? Are you the best you can be as a person? As a whole, what you have to offer. Are you ready to be in a relationship at all? Period. If you, and like I said, people call it baggage, but if you have a lot of baggage, whatever it may be, are you fully out of a relationship that you are in? If you have children with someone who you're not in a relationship with, are you ready for that? Are you ready to move on properly? Will you still, and if the person is a good person, like whoever the other parent is, if they're a good person and not harmful to you or the child, are you in a position to move on properly from that relationship, but still co-parent peacefully with whoever you had the child with? Because when you're in that situation, a child has to still thrive. Mom and dad may not be together anymore for whatever reason, but the child shouldn't have to suffer for that. So if you're looking for another relationship and you have a child, but you're not with the parent, are you ready to move on, to get into another relationship? One where you can still co-parent, but still introduce someone else into this child's life. And hopefully it's been enough time, jumping from one relationship to the other when you have a child. That's not too good for the child, not too good for you either. But, so that's one form of quote unquote baggage. If you're seeking a relationship, and you have a child or children, are you and the child's relationships and life solid enough for you to be looking for another partner or mate in a relationship? And it's something that each one of us have to answer honestly for ourselves. Every person is different. Every relationship is different. So that's one part of it. Financially, what if you have a lot of debt for whatever reason? And not saying that makes you a bad person. No. I had debt. You just have to do things to work it off and make it better. But, you have to think about that if you are looking for a relationship, because remember, the way I look at it is it's a partnership. You're working together in life. You're lifing together, right? So, you have to think, would it be fair if this person has kind of got their life in order and everything going great, but you might have a lot of debt? Will that bother everyone? No. I've known couples that didn't matter. They got together. But what I keep on saying is, are you looking appealing to someone else? What do you have to offer? That may not be appealing to someone else. They may not want someone that has a lot of debt or are rebuilding. Like I said, nothing is wrong with that. Does not make you a bad person. This episode is trying to just open everyone's eyes to the possibility that some things in your life may not be appealing to other people. It may not be you directly that they don't want to be with. It just may be something in your life, a circumstance, or, that's what I'm talking about when I say, what do you have to offer? It's just open, honest self-reflection within yourself, just to try to pinpoint, are there things that I can work on in my life that I can become more appealing to someone? And then we have the physical aspect. And like I said, this is a hot button for a lot of people. Just, you may not be appealing to other people. It's just a fact. But if you are a person that has great self-worth, great self-respect, and you know what you bring to the table, you're going to go on in life unbothered by that. There's someone out there for everyone. You just have to find them. But in the process of trying to find someone, if that's what you want to do, you have to keep working on yourself. You have to keep, and I've heard this phrase a lot, you have to be or become a high quality person. And I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman or listened to him, but there was someone I listened to a lot. And I used to watch him on YouTube. He used to go live on YouTube. Kevin Samuels. It was kind of no in between. People either loved him or hated him, for the things he said, his philosophies on life and his viewpoints on life. I would say I agreed with most of what he said. I disagreed with sometimes the way he said it, or the way he portrayed himself, or if I felt like he was downing someone. I didn't agree with that side of it. But the things I agreed with him on was his viewpoints on self-development and self-love, like caring for yourself enough to where you want to become a high quality person. And high quality people look for other high quality people. People that had their lives in order to where they, felt like they could look for someone else that was of high quality. And so I agreed with him on that. I agreed with him on wanting to be your best in life, emotionally, mentally, physically. Where we differed on the physical part of it was he kind of just, felt like if people were over a certain weight or considered overweight, then they needed to fix that before they could look for a relationship. And like I said, I don't agree with that, because I feel like weight or size does not define who we are as a person or an individual. I'm mature enough to realize that we have different weights and sizes. Some is self-inflicted because we make bad choices. with eating habits or exercise habits. And then I'm open-minded enough to realize that, there are some conditions or diseases or medicines, that we may not even know about that affects a person's size or weight. So each of us are different. We're our own person. We know our circumstances. We know our health. So, don't ever feel ashamed or embarrassed about your weight or your size. Be the best person you can be. And yes, be healthy. Do things to improve your health. But just realize that you may not be everyone's cup of tea. Some of us like smaller people, petite people. Some of us like mid-size. Some of us like people with some meat on their bones. I know guys that like, they call them BBWs, or big, beautiful women. They want something they can hold on to. So we are all different. We have our own likes and desires. So, be happy in the skin you're in. Have that confidence, have that self-love, have that self-respect, that self-worth, whatever size you are, however tall you are, or however short you are. Like, just own it. Live your life. But at the same time, just realize you may not be what someone else is looking for or what someone else desires. It's just a part of life. That doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't devalue you any. To each their own. Just like you have what you're looking for, what you're attracted to, other people have that too. So, there are different aspects of our life where we just have to think honestly and be open with yourself. Am I appealing to someone else? What do I have to offer? And broaden it, take that to a larger perspective, not only in the relationship, but what do I have to offer in a friendship even, If we want to have good friendships, good, solid, strong friendships that last for years and decades, what do I have to offer as a person, as an individual? What do I contribute to this friendship? What will I contribute to this partnership or this marriage? Keep an open mind. But, when we're honest with ourselves, then we're not going to get into that frame of mind where we're discouraged, where we're wondering or questioning what's wrong with us. I know quite a few individuals that are discouraged. Oh my goodness. I see them on social media and they make these posts about, being lonely. I just want to find someone to love me, and they jumping in and out of relationships. When you're doing this, don't you think people, they see you and they're forming these notions about you? If they see you jumping in and out of relationships, or if you're sounding desperate. I often tell people, I may have younger individuals asking me questions about relationships and so forth. And I tell most of them the same thing. When you are just so bent on finding someone, or so desperate to get into a relationship, you're not going to look that attractive or appealing to someone. Like, just being brutally honest. Most of the time, we'll find someone when we're content and happy in life, doing our thing. And then you'll meet someone and it may blossom into a good friendship or a good relationship. So, have that self-worth and that self-dignity to be a whole and a complete person, whether you're in a relationship or not. Sometimes we may feel like we aren't going to be whole or complete until we find a mate. And that's not true. You have to be whole and complete yourself first. Because a great relationship consists of two complete people that aren't looking for another person to fill in the gaps or the holes in their life. That's not fair to the other person, is it? So, I challenge you to just work on yourself. Raise your value, and not saying for someone else. Raise your value. Be complete for yourself. That is a huge part of loving yourself. Being the best version of you that you can be. And again, I'm talking all aspects of life. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And remember how we do things here at Love Is Your Medicine. We take it day by day. Don't set these big, high, lofty goals. Set small goals, mid-level goals, and long-term goals. And just keep knocking those short-term goals out. And, the more that you accomplish, the better you'll feel, the more positive you'll be. And guess what? While you're making yourself whole, you may look very, very appealing to someone. And who knows what that'll turn into. So yeah, that's what I meant by this episode title. What do you have to offer? You have to ask yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. Sometimes you may even need to go to your trusted friend. Go to your trusted confidant. Tell them to be honest with you. What do you see? How am I? Anything that you see that I should work on? Like, that's what friendships and, someone that you can trust, that's what it's all about. You just don't want to just go through life with each other blindly, or just with blinders on or rose-colored lenses. But I expect my friends, and I tell them constantly, people that I associate with are my friends. My wife, I tell them, if you see something wrong, please tell me. I feel slighted or hurt if someone knows something or sees something about me or something I'm doing or saying, and if they don't bring it to my attention, I feel like my trusted friends can and should do that. So I welcome it, and sometimes it may be uncomfortable for them, but yeah, it's very necessary. It's very needed in friendships and relationships, that open communication and honesty. So yeah, besides your self-reflection, ask someone that you trust and love. What do they see? Yep. So we all have to continually think about and work on what we offer as a person. What do you bring to the table? And once you're doing this, you'll find that it transcends into various aspects of your life. You know, whether it's relationships or your career, you know. So it is a part of building yourself up and loving yourself enough to make sure that you are a whole person for yourself first. You know, be a whole person for yourself. And then, like I said, you never know who's looking at you, who you may be appealing to. So I hope that you have found value in this episode. Remember the things that I touched on and talked about. If you see something wrong or something that you could do better, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't get discouraged. Just write a list of ways or things that you can do to get better, you know, to become a better person, to improve what you have to offer. So, yeah, I hope you found great value in this episode. I have a couple of great interviews coming up. The first one will be with my wife, Michelle. We have interesting stories to tell about our life and the individual paths that we had to take for ourselves, realizing what we could do to love ourselves better, and then the paths that we had to take together. So yeah, that'll be a great interview. We both had to work on things individually and as a couple. And at first she was apprehensive about jumping on here with me, but now, I just talked to her and she's excited. She's ready to tell her story and our story about, what we put into practice daily, individually and as a couple, to love ourselves. And then another interview I'll have coming up after hers is with an individual. I've watched her on social media, just the things that she's doing to raise her self-love and her self-worth and her self-respect. She's doing some pretty outstanding and awesome things with her life. So yeah, pretty soon, I look forward to bringing you those two interviews, because like I said, I could talk and I enjoy talking with you, but then it's great for us to break it up and have me introduce other people, real people, just like you and me, that are doing it every day, loving themselves. Why? Because love is our medicine. You have to love and respect yourself first before we can expect other people to love and respect us as well. So remember that. Keep on working on yourself each and every day, each and every week, to improve what you have to offer as a person. Have a great day. Have a great week. Go and do great things.